Welcome to the Do Good Work podcast. Today, we're going to be diving into a one-on-one, you and I here, and going into the 10-step protocol I personally use to maintain peak focus and protect my number one assets. And spoiler alerts, the number one asset is focus. So attention is scarce in today's economy. Now, I'm not going to talk about like Web 2 versus Web 3, but to be fair, attention is scarce because everyone's fighting for your attention. The advertiser, the Facebook ad, the YouTube video, this ping, that notification. Every marketer, every ping, every pop-up, every coworker is competing to get your attention because they have an initiative, they have an agenda, they need something to get solved, or they need you to buy something, and they want to take your attention from you. It's not a bad thing, but that's just the reality. Now, there is a negative trend happening that in order to get someone's attention, at least in the workplace, the negative trend is that, oh, if I need to get this person's attention to focus on this particular task, all I have to do is book a call with them. Now, that's a huge no-no. It's a huge mistake I'm seeing online right now, but it is happening. It is real. However, if you are the culprit asking for someone's attention by booking a call instead of actually figuring out another way of communication, or if you are, facing this and people are pinging you left and right because they want to steal your attention from you or buy some of your time or take some of your time, I would encourage you to look at tools like Droplr or Loom to be able to communicate without meeting in real time to protect both of your number one asset. And like we talked about, the most valuable action that you can take in your day and your number one asset is to maintain your focus. So attention sucking gravity wells distract you from, number one, what you're doing, your current responsibilities. Number two, where you're going. They can derail you from your process or hinder your growth. And number three, they can distract you from your thinking and with brainwashing, with new narratives and ideas that may not line up with where you want to go or who you want to be. When we encourage or when we open our minds to a lot of attention-sucking activities, notifications, pings, they could distract us from what we're doing, where we're going, or who we want to be. I'm not anti-information. I read plenty of books and you should read a ton. I'm just saying when you're focused on something, when you're driving towards an initiative, we got to protect your number one asset. So it's important to call these out since now that you have awareness, you can start to process your stream of thinking versus the stream of thinking of someone else who wants to take your attention from you. Now, it's not malicious, but again, just keep that in mind. Like what is your stream of conscious thinking? What is your stream of thinking versus what something else that just popped up wants you to think about? Now, the thing is right now, and this is a reality, is that most of us welcome distractions into our world without actually knowing it because most of our environment is digital. And these environments that are digital are designed to be habit forming, response triggering from notifications. So it is something that we need to be more cognizant and aware of, specifically as we dive into an even more digital world. And that's not wrong, it's not bad, but it's just a reality that we have to face. And I'm included in this too. Like I definitely know I sometimes welcome distractions and I do my best to fight those off. Now, the answer on how to maintain your focus during the day, because you are a unique individual and your situation and your environment is completely different. But what I can offer you is two things. One, awareness that this is happening. And two, hopefully intention that you can take action to fight off distractions. And what I'll share now is just the 10 things or the 10-step protocol that I do to maintain peak focus throughout the day. This is not perfect. This is not end all be all. This is just inspiration. And hopefully this can help you craft your protocol. So this is what I do to maintain focus and maintain peak, not just performance, but mental thought throughout the day. So number one step is I start the day with 0 screen time. So I do my best to wake up early, pray, meditate, and then exercise. When I exercise, I use screen just to see what exercise I'm doing, but I'm not scrolling. Do your best to try not to start your day looking at your screen. That's the number one thing. Protocol number 2 is to get some sunlight or outdoor exposure in the morning. I have found personally that this makes me happier. Protocol number 3, action number 3 is to create or push something into the world before I intake the noise. So there's two actions that you can do. You push or you intake. In the morning, I like to create something. I like to either write a new podcast, a new post, or even record another podcast. I like to create and push something into the world, build something new, write down a new idea, focus on building the next book or whatever project I'm working on before I take in the intake of the noise of the world. The noise is your social media, your email, your Slacks, the whole gamut. So that's the third step I take. And these are in chronological order. Number 4 is to have a clear list, either digital or written, of what I need to focus on or accomplish today. I do this both for my personal and professional action items that I need to do, and I only focus on executing what's on that list. And a hint is that I practice, the night before, I review the next day so I have that list ready to go. I use digital, but I also like to use written at the same time. For some reason, both just work for me. Perhaps you're more advanced and just use purely digital. The next action item is that I add items from my noise of the world, the intake, my Slacks, my emails onto the list, but I plan to do those actions later or during the time that it's appropriate that day. So I don't always respond immediately. I bucket them out. I process them, bucket them out, and then I respond when it's appropriate because I can't just respond to 100 messages in one go and still do my best work or think proactively in the morning. Second thing is I have my watch or desktop notify me of hourly alerts. So I used to do this on my watch. I moved away from that, but I also introduced that back into my schedule. So you don't have to follow all these protocols. So I like to have a good timer. Right now I have a under the desk treadmill that tells me every 30 minutes because it restarts every 30 minutes, and it's a good thing. So it helps me keep track of time. So the only reason I do this protocol is just it helps me keep track of how long I'm spending doing an action item or spending on a call. If I am on a Zoom call, this is the next protocol. I do have the timer showing on the Zoom call so I know exactly how long this call has been going because sometimes you don't need to have a super long call. I think this is number 6 or 7, but on the next thing that I do is I also don't use my phone while I'm working. I fail at this. Sometimes I'm exceptional at this, but you definitely don't need to have your phone on or have your phone while you're working unless you're actually taking phone calls and that's part of your job. Protocol number 8, I think this is actually number 9. I delete the app from my phone and computer that are a net negative for my mindset and productivity. There are plenty of suggestions out there that you can delete. I forgot which apps I've deleted, but I definitely delete apps that are not helpful for me. The most recent app that I deleted from my phone, believe it or not, is Slack. So you don't need to have that to be super effective. I can attest to that firsthand. And then the final thing that I do in order to maintain peak focus, you do not have to do this, and definitely talk to a doctor before you do any of this, is I skip breakfast and sometimes I skip lunch to maintain a clear mind. It's good for me. Fasting is good for me. You don't have to fast. But that's just what the thing that I do. So that's my 10-step protocol that I personally use to maintain peak focus. What about you? What's your protocol? What's something that you're practicing that's been effective? You can email me at podcast@dogoodwork.io, or you can leave a comment in the review section. And if you found this podcast to be useful today, go ahead and share this with someone that you believe might benefit from it. You never know, you might be the catalyst for them and how they experience their work and how they work in their business. As always, it's an honor to be a small part of your journey. This is Raul Hernandez. Do good work.